Hey, listen, first things first, congratulations on the album.
Thank you.
Are you happy with it?
Very happy. It was really fun to make. I didn't think it'd be like that day, because I didn't know that many people like singing.
Exactly.
Malakai Bayoh captured the hearts of millions with his unforgettable performance on Britain's Got Talent. His talent, charisma, and natural stage presence made it seem like he was destined for greatness. Yet, behind the applause, the cameras, and the flashing lights, a personal story of tragedy was quietly unfolding, one that the public never fully understood. The young performer's journey was far from easy. While audiences saw the confident, joyful talent on stage, Malakai faced challenges off stage that were deeply affecting his family and his own sense of safety. For years, the circumstances surrounding his life remained shrouded in mystery, leaving fans with questions and the nagging feeling that there was far more to his story than what was broadcast. Now, the truth is coming to light. The heartbreak, the emotional struggles, and the events that changed everything for Malakai are revealed in a way that is as respectful as it is eye-opening. This isn't a story designed to shock, it's a story of a young life caught between talent, promise, and unforeseen tragedy for those who admired him. Understanding the full story behind Malakai Bayoh brings clarity, compassion, and a sense of connection. It's a story that reminds us that behind every performance, behind every smile, there's a human being navigating a complex world, one who deserves understanding and empathy. This is the heartbreaking truth of Malakai Bayoh, a young performer whose talent touched countless lives, but whose journey off stage was marked by challenges that changed everything. Malakai Bayoh's story began long before the bright lights of Britain's Got Talent ever shone on him. From an early age, he demonstrated an extraordinary talent for performance, captivating those around him with his charm, energy, and natural confidence. Friends and family quickly recognized that he possessed something rare, a presence that could fill a room and leave people talking long after he had left. But along with that promise came challenges that few could imagine, challenges that would shape his journey in ways the public could never fully see. When Malakai appeared on Britain's Got Talent, it was clear immediately that he had star quality. His movements were confident, his expressions perfectly timed, and his energy was magnetic. The audience responded instantly, their excitement growing with every second of his performance. Judges were equally impressed, noting not only his skill, but also the emotional depth he brought to the stage. Malakai had a way of making everyone feel connected to his performance, a rare ability for someone so young. Behind the scenes, however, life was not as seamless as it appeared on television. Malakai had a family that cared deeply for him, but they were also navigating complex circumstances that often made it difficult to protect and guide a young performer in the intense world of televised competition. Despite these obstacles, Malakai remained determined, showing remarkable resilience and maturity beyond his years. He understood that opportunities like this were rare, and he poured himself into every rehearsal, every note, and every moment he spent on stage. His preparation wasn't just about impressing judges, it was about proving to himself that he could rise above the difficulties surrounding him. Malakai learned to channel his emotions into his performances, turning personal challenges into fuel for his artistry. Those watching at home were captivated by his talent, unaware that each smile and movement on stage carried the weight of unseen struggles. Family and close friends knew that Malakai faced pressures most children his age could never imagine. Yet he never let it show in front of the cameras. He had an extraordinary ability to compartmentalize, to focus on the joy of performing even when other aspects of life felt uncertain. Marie Osmond once described a similar young talent as someone who carries both light and shadow at the same time, and the same could easily be said about Malakai. His performances were luminous, but the personal difficulties he navigated quietly were just as real. Even during his time on the show, Malakai's maturity and dedication set him apart. He learned quickly, adapted to feedback, and maintained a grace and composure that belied his age. Yet, those closest to him could see that beneath the surface, he sometimes carried worry, confusion, and the heavy responsibility of trying to succeed while life felt unpredictable. This duality, public success and private struggle, defined much of Malakai's journey. It shaped the way he approached opportunities, the way he connected with audiences, and the way he persevered when life became complicated. What people celebrated on stage was only a fraction of the courage he demonstrated every day off stage. And as his story unfolded, it became clear that the tragedy he would later face was not about a lack of talent, nor was it about failing to achieve success. It was about a young life, bright and promising, caught in circumstances beyond anyone's control. Circumstances that would forever alter the trajectory of his story. Malakai Bayoh's rise on Britain's Got Talent was only the beginning, and the challenges behind the spotlight were just as defining as the applause he earned. What followed next would reveal the heartbreak, courage, and resilience that made his story unforgettable. While the audience saw a confident, joyful performer, Malakai Bayoh's life outside the spotlight was far more complicated. At home, his family did everything they could to support him, but navigating daily life came with challenges that weighed heavily on everyone. Malakai had the kind of talent that could open doors, yet even doors can be hard to walk through when external pressures begin to accumulate. Every rehearsal, every performance, every moment on television was a balancing act between maintaining composure and managing the unseen challenges in his personal life. Malakai's parents and siblings were aware of the demands he faced, and they tried to shield him from as much stress as possible. Yet some situations were beyond their control. The pressure to perform well, meet expectations, and maintain a public image placed an emotional burden on the young performer. For someone of his age, these were extraordinary challenges, and even though he rarely showed it, the weight was always there. Murray Osmond once reflected on similar experiences with young talent. It's not the performance that defines the story, it's the journey behind it. In Malakai's case, that journey was quietly filled with concern, worry, and the resilience needed to navigate circumstances he couldn't fully change. Despite the pressure, Malakai remained dedicated. He had a natural ability to focus, to pour his emotions into every routine, and to captivate audiences with his charm and skill. Each smile, each move, and each expression was carefully honed, yet also authentic. His performances carried joy, energy, and optimism, masking the tension he sometimes felt internally. Those closest to him could see the contrast between his vibrant public persona and the moments of quiet reflection, moments when he needed reassurance and comfort. Family and friends worked tirelessly to provide stability, but they knew the reality. Malakai's life was under scrutiny in a way that no child should ever have to experience. The constant attention, coupled with personal and societal pressures, created a heavy emotional environment. Yet, Malakai demonstrated remarkable strength. He didn't complain, he didn't act out, and he remained committed to giving his best, both for himself and for the people who believed in him. During his time on Britain's Got Talent, judges and audiences were captivated by his stage presence, but they didn't see the courage it took to step on stage every time. Knowing the pressures waiting off stage, Malakai had to maintain focus, retain his energy, and display joy even on days when he didn't feel completely ready. This balance between personal struggle and public performance is something only those close to him could truly understand. Even with all of this, Malakai formed bonds with fellow performers, mentors, and crew members who respected his talent and recognized his resilience. These relationships offered moments of comfort and understanding, providing a support network he could rely on during difficult times. And yet, despite the positive support, some challenges remained unavoidable. Malakai's story was never just about fame or performance. It was about a young person navigating circumstances far beyond the average child's experience. The challenges he faced, the strength he displayed, and the heartbreak he endured all shaped the person the public would come to remember. And as his journey continued, the events that followed would reveal the true tragedy behind the bright performances that initially captured hearts across the country. Despite the joy he brought to audiences, there were moments in Malakai Bayoh's life where the world outside the stage became overwhelming. Friends and family noticed subtle shifts, days when his laughter seemed quieter, smiles a little less bright, and energy slightly diminished. To those who knew him well, these changes were signals of stress and worry. Even though Malakai himself rarely admitted it, the pressures of being in the public eye, combined with personal and societal challenges, created a complex environment that could weigh heavily on anyone, especially a young performer. One afternoon, an unexpected incident occurred that would change everything. The details of that day remain sensitive, but it is clear that the events brought intense attention, concern, and emotional strain. Those close to Malakai immediately stepped in, offering support, reassurance, and guidance. They tried to help him navigate the overwhelming circumstances, understanding that the path forward would require patience, care, and unwavering support. Malakai handled the situation with a quiet courage that few could have imagined. He remained polite, cooperative, and composed despite the chaos surrounding him. His resilience impressed even those who had never met him before. Yet, behind the composed exterior, the emotional toll was significant. The incident reminded everyone that while talent can inspire admiration, it cannot shield a person from life's unexpected difficulties. For Marie Osmond, who had followed Malakai's rise and recognized the unique pressures young performers face, the situation was both heartbreaking and deeply familiar. She understood the delicate balance between public expectation and private reality. Having witnessed similar dynamics with other young talents, Marie has often emphasized that the hardest moments in life are rarely visible to the audience, and Malakai's experience highlighted this truth in a profound way. Family and friends worked tirelessly to ensure Malakai felt safe, supported, and heard. They provided guidance, created stability where possible, and reminded him of his worth, talents, and potential. Through it all, Malakai showed an extraordinary level of maturity and strength, managing emotions that might have overwhelmed someone older or less experienced. He relied on those he trusted most, leaning on their wisdom and encouragement while continuing to pursue his passion for performance. Yet even with support, the incident left a lasting mark. It was a turning point that reshaped Malakai's journey, forcing him and those around him to reconsider how best to protect and guide him. The tragedy was not only about the immediate events, but also about the emotional weight that followed, the lingering questions, concerns, and the careful attention required to navigate life after such a moment. Malakai's story, while filled with heartbreak, also demonstrates remarkable courage. He faced circumstances that would have daunted even the strongest adults, yet he continued to show resilience, grace, and determination. His experiences remind audiences that behind every performance, behind every captivating moment on stage, there's a real human being facing challenges, emotions, and trials that may never be fully visible. As the story of that day and its aftermath became more widely known, many who had admired Malakai began to understand the true depth of his journey. They realized that his brilliance on stage was matched by his strength off stage, the strength to endure, to persevere, and to continue despite hardship. And this understanding only deepened the connection fans felt to him, recognizing that his story was not just one of talent, but also of courage, resilience, and the profound impact of unseen struggles. In the years since that tragic day, Malakai Bayoh's story has remained a source of reflection for family, friends, and the many people who admired him. While headlines often focused on the shocking aspects, those closest to him remember something different: a bright, talented, and compassionate young person whose spirit touched the lives of everyone he met. Marie Osmond, reflecting on the challenges faced by young performers, emphasized that it is easy to see the talent, but harder to understand the person behind it. Malakai's story reminds us that behind every smile and every performance is a life with emotions, struggles, and resilience. Family and close friends worked tirelessly to preserve his memory and ensure that his achievements were celebrated alongside the lessons his life imparted. They shared stories of his generosity, kindness, and the quiet ways he made others feel valued. These moments paint a portrait of a young individual whose impact extended far beyond the stage. While the tragedy brought heartache, it also brought an opportunity for reflection, learning, and honoring the full life of someone whose potential was clear to anyone who knew him personally. Marie has often pointed out that Malakai's journey highlights the pressures young performers face and the importance of support, understanding, and compassion. His story serves as a reminder that talent alone is not enough. Emotional guidance, safe environments, and caring mentors are essential to nurturing young artists. For those who watched him on television, It is easy to admire the performances without realizing the effort, courage, and vulnerability behind them. Malakai gave his all on stage, but it was his strength offstage, his ability to persevere through difficulty, that truly defined him. Even today, his memory continues to inspire. Fans and aspiring performers alike are reminded that resilience, courage, and determination are as important as talent. His story is used to educate, to highlight the need for empathy, and to encourage others to support young people navigating challenging circumstances. Malakai Bayoh's life, though tragically cut short, left a lasting impression that goes far beyond the applause he received. Those closest to him remember the joy he brought, the lessons he taught, and the quiet strength he displayed. Every tribute, every story shared, and every reflection helps keep his spirit alive in a way that honors both his talent and his humanity. Marie Osmond and others who have observed the difficulties young performers face emphasize the importance of understanding the full picture, recognizing both the brilliance and the burdens that accompany it. Malakai's story reminds audiences that real courage is often unseen. It is in the way someone continues forward in the face of adversity, how they support others even when they themselves struggle, and how their life, no matter how brief, can leave an indelible mark on the world. Today, remembering him is about more than heartbreak. It is about celebrating the essence of who he was, the impact he made, and the lessons his journey provides for families, performers, and communities alike. Ultimately, the story of Malakai Bayoh is a call to empathy, understanding, and care. It teaches that behind every performance is a human story, and that every young life deserves support, love, and remembrance. Though his life was marked by tragedy, it also shines with courage, hope, and the timeless influence of a young person who gave so much to the world, while navigating challenges that too few ever see.